Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, of course. I'm Steve Darling from Proactive, back with another live stream event. We're very excited to talk about an acquisition made by Nextech AR Solutions. And let's welcome back in the CEO, Evan Gappelberg, to join us once again. And Evan, it's always great to have you involved in these live stream events and learn a little bit more about what's been going on. And there you see Baran as well. We'll talk to Baran in just a second. But Evan, first, let's get a quick update on what's going on at Nextech. A lot of people interested in how the company's doing and what you're up to.
Sure. I mean, we've been very busy building our augmented reality tech stack. It's super exciting to be able to do another live stream with you and talk about the metaverse, talk about what it means to Nextech, what it means really to the technology landscape at large. It's just an exciting time to be at Nextech, and I really can't wait to bring to market these mini metaverses, which we've been talking about. As you know, Steve, we've been building our augmented reality for e-commerce tech stack up over the last 3 years. We've also been building out our hologram technology, which allows you to beam in, human holograms. And so when you look at our ad network, our 3D AR ad network, our content creation machine, essentially a factory that creates 3D assets at scale. And then you think about being able to unplug them from the computer that we're on right now and bring them out into the metaverse, into the world at large, where they're not plugged into anything. They're not, you don't need to be on a screen to see them. You're able to see them through your phone or, pretty soon through a pair of AR glasses. That's what's gotten me so excited. That's kind of the holy grail, where you have this persistent AR experience. Just like every day we're on our phones, we're on the internet, we don't even think about it anymore. It's just like, right? It's like breathing oxygen. Like it's just we don't think about it.
Yeah, Evan, I was thinking about you the other day. Last week, I was away and I was watching a bit of the Olympics. And here in Canada, they had one of the features that they had was one of the hosts was interviewing a medal winner, and the host was standing there. Then all of a sudden, a hologram of the guest appeared. So instead of seeing the usual in a TV screen talking to someone, they were standing beside the host using a hologram. I mean, the future is just really endless when it comes to that type of technology.
It is. And what you're really saying, Steve, is the future is here now. That the stuff that we've been dreaming about, the stuff that we've been talking about is actually here now. The challenge with the tech that you saw at the Olympics is that it's not scalable, meaning, they could do a single, human hologram, right?
They spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, for us, there's not a lot of value in that. It's more of like a proof of concept. And so for us, it's about being able to create those experiences at scale, where I could sell the network our technology and say, hey, here's our tech, plug it into your network, and you can have holograms on demand all day, every day, as many times as you want per day. That's the magic of Nextech's technology that really sets us apart from all of our competitors.
And I'll just ask one more question on that really quickly before we bring on our next guest. But it piqued my interest when you said that, because a lot of people are interested in seeing what celebrities are doing in their favorite TV shows or cookie shows, whatever it is. But they also have that access just using social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. But to be able to have content of someone showing you how to do a recipe or talking about the next season of a show, I mean, there really is the advantage that your technology provides to other players that could really bring them to the next level.
Yeah, it's on demand. Think of it as the Netflix of human holograms, where it's on demand. You used to have to go to the movie theater to see a movie. Then they started mailing you, or you had the tapes. Remember the VHS? Yeah. You would rent them, and then you'd get these CDs in the mail. They had Redbox. It was like a kiosk. You could go right. And now it's on demand. it streams in to your home, to your device, wherever you are. And that's game-changing technology. And that's really the same exact concept that we're bringing to market with human holograms. The idea of on demand, not that you have to have somebody create this human hologram in a special studio with 150 cameras and a green screen. No, that's like a movie production, right? This is the technology we're rolling out with HoloX, and we're just in beta now for the month of August, and it's going to go live in September, is the ability to create holograms on demand. It's live streaming human holograms. Total game-changing technology. Combine that with the metaverse, which is what we're here to talk about, and it gets super, super exciting really, really fast.
Okay, well, let's talk about that technology, because you're here to announce an acquisition that the Nextech AR Solutions has made. It's a UK-based company called, now I say ARway, but ARway, whatever way you want to say it. Tell me a little bit about the reasoning behind this acquisition, Nevin.
Sure. So, I mean, if you think about the metaverse, there's actually been a lot of chatter in the world today, right? When you look at what we see with Facebook, they're coming out and now talking about the metaverse in a really big way. When you look at what you're seeing with, I think Ariana Grande just had a metaverse concert that she put on. And so the idea of the metaverse is starting to percolate in a really big way. Facebook, I think everybody missed the fact that Facebook just became a $1 trillion public company. It was like, I don't know, I missed it. So the idea of the metaverse is to create sort of a next level internet overlaid onto our physical world, and people that are plugged into the metaverse exist in our physical world just like everyone else, but you can see and interact with things that others can't. It's kind of like the Matrix type of experience. But Facebook has really opened the floodgates to I think everybody's interest in the metaverse. Ultimately, they're going to be selling advertising and maybe some virtual clothing or virtual gear that you would take from one metaverse to the next. I mean, everybody remembers Oculus. Facebook famously purchased that for, I think it was $2 billion back. That was like 5-6 years ago. All of that is basically leading up to this idea of the metaverse. And I think it's important that, just for one more second, we'll talk about Facebook, that they had an hour-long conference call about their earnings. And during that call, the metaverse was mentioned by Mark Zuckerberg, who is the, thought leader of a $1 trillion, Goliath, 24 times. He mentioned the metaverse 24 times. So it wasn't like in passing, oh yeah, the metaverse. No, it was like, we're actually a metaverse company, and the metaverse is our future, and we're a $1 trillion super successful tech company. And so, that really speaks volumes. And if you look at Microsoft CEO Nadella, he said 2 weeks ago that the company's building the enterprise metaverse. Epic Games announced that they're investing $1 billion to support its metaverse ambitions. And in June, they announced that there's actually going to be, you're not going to believe this, Steve, a metaverse ETF. So, I mean, it's the timing of this is just perfect, where there's capital being raised to invest in the metaverse. Big tech, Microsoft, Facebook, NVIDIA, Roblox, they're all starting to circle the wagons on the metaverse. Even Unity, And so Nextech, if we want to be a player, and we do, if we're ambitious, and we are, then we have to be in the race to the metaverse. And that, I think, opens the stage to maybe bring in Baran, who's been patiently waiting.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that if you do want to have a question or anything, there is a chat section below. You can throw your questions in there, or the Q&A as well. We've got a couple in there. We'll talk about those after we speak with Baran. We'll get to some of the questions that we may have, unless they relate to what we're specifically talking about here. So let's bring in Baran Korkmaz. He is the founder, one of the key founders of the company. Now, Baran, do you say ARway or ARway? How do you like to say it?
Well, I mean, it's been thrown around ARway or ARway, so my preference is ARway, but it really doesn't matter.
Okay, ARway as always, or anyway, whichever way works.
I mean, it's ARway, right? Like everyone's way and path. So we kind of make that joke.
So before we get into yourself and this, your background is really interesting, because maybe you could explain your background to everyone and why that's so significant.
Yeah, sure thing. So actually, I started in augmented reality when I was 14. So, with ARway, and before this, it was more of like almost a school project where I wanted to build a AR app and also figure out this problem to location positioning indoors. So at that time, Apple had just launched the ARkit, which was the first AR framework that made it so billions of devices could actually tap into, AR's capabilities. And so, ever since then, I kind of fell in love with the technology and started building. And fast forward now, I'm 18, of course, and built up. And of course, this is still my first startup. And so, built up a team, raised a small round, and was able to deliver quite quickly on a product. So now I'm more excited to take it to the next stage where we can, move with Nextech, and I can now start to build the future I want to build for my own generation, which is more exciting.
So, Baran, we're getting a bunch of questions on here. What exactly is the metaverse? I think people understand. What is it like? Can you put it into sort of terms that someone like myself can understand?
Of course. So the metaverse and that word has been thrown around quite a lot. So we hear it as Epic Games, having a metaverse. We hear Oculus having their, like a VR metaverse. And then we're talking about like an augmented reality metaverse. So it's quite confusing. But, when I throw you the term, what's the internet, in like the 90s, if I said to you, oh, what's the internet? It's, everyone's going to have a slightly different answer. But I think the best way to kind of describe the metaverse is really to look at it as these different layers. So I think if we look at Web 2.0, right, the current stage we're at, and the current, tech leaders, we're going to see these companies play a very different role in this metaverse. So there's going to be, a real world metaverse, like an augmented reality one, which me and Evan are interested in building. There's going to be a virtual reality metaverse, which is including, Epic Games and, Decentraland and all these different projects that focus on just like a VR metaverse. But essentially, it's going to be these different worlds that have these different ecosystems and all these different layers. So, for example, Google will want to become like, still the knowledge layer of this metaverse. Facebook wants to become the social layer. Amazon wants to become like the commerce layer. So they're starting to experiment a lot with AR. And I think the pattern here is a lot of these businesses will just mirror their core business onto Web 3.0 or, this metaverse. And so that's where we want to focus on the AR part of it, which is the real world and physical metaverse. And I think that's going to be the most important one where, we all live in it.
Yeah. So Evan, so just so people understand, so for instance, if you're saying that it's a, the internet is one layer, augmented reality is another layer, virtual reality is another layer. The metaverse is the different layers of the internet. Is that fair to say?
You can think of it that way. I was just thinking about it while I was listening to Baran, and I'm trying to kind of bring it down to a level where people that aren't techie or into technology understand it. And so imagine this, and I'm just throwing, I'm trying something out, right? Imagine, we go to the movie theater and we watch a screen, right? And there's the movie unfolding in front of us, and there's a lot happening, right? Okay, so imagine you can walk into that screen and you're now enveloped in that movie. You walked into that world. That's really the metaverse. You're walking into this other world. Now that's not a real world, right? It's a movie. So it's kind of like this 3D movie that we live in and move around in. And there are things happening there. Like Pokemon Go was essentially the first Go of the metaverse. That was essentially like, you know, the first experience of the metaverse, where you had these kids running around and some adults too. And, you know, everything was geolocation based. I mean, that's a key part of the metaverse, you know, that there's persistence, meaning it's always on, right? So it's this movie that's always on. And that means that you wake up, you walk outside, and there's some experience that occurs every single morning. You wake up, maybe there's a hologram that drops in and says, hey, good morning, you know, have a great day. The weather looks to be, you know, cloudy. You might want to bring your umbrella. Every single morning, without you having to flip a switch, without you having to push a button, without you having to turn a knob, that experience shows up. That's the metaverse. It's always on, ever present, persistent experiences. And so today, the metaverse is visible through your phone. Tomorrow, it's glasses. And so if you think about how natural that experience will be, where you wake up, there's a hologram that drops in, you're not going to even think about it. It's just going to be there. It's going to be like your dog, or, you know, it's going to just, like, you don't think about it. You'll just be like, this is normal. This is my new world. And so that's kind of the way I think of the metaverse. Is that
yeah,
kind of...
Makes total sense. Absolutely. So Baran, explain to everyone the product that you've developed. So what is it that you were working on, and what are you bringing to Nextech now?
Yeah, sure thing. So just to also bounce from Evan's point on, you know, the current state of, you know, augmented reality and also this metaverse. Yeah, so right now, the short-term viability of augmented reality is just supported at this smartphone scale, where we have billions of devices, and, you know, all of them are AR ready. And so, you know, what that essentially means is it allows us to tap into creating the spatial maps needed for once the AR glasses arrive. And so when we look at companies like Facebook and Google, this is exactly what they've always been trying to go after, whether it was with OpenStreetMaps, you know, them deploying cars and people to go around scanning the world. You know, we now have mobile devices capable of doing that. So essentially what we've, and, you know, with ARway, the vision was to be able to tap into that and, you know, at this smartphone scale, create these AR experiences and create a kit that would make it very easy for any developer to, you know, scan their environment and create their own AR cloud. And so that really is reflected now in this concept of a mini metaverse, where we can essentially give these, you know, venues and locations such as universities or, you know, hospitals or, you know, even shopping centers, and allow them to create their own mini metaverses or AR, you know, complete experiences. And so we had previous clients do this. So, you know, our most recent project was with Guildhall, where we're working with the City of London to deploy some experiences around London. And so, you know, I think this is just going to be translated now into, you know, much more different venues, and it's just going to be quite exciting once we're able to deploy it at the scale and now with the resources we have at Nextech. So, you know, as a startup now moving into, you know, working with a public company, it's going to just allow us to like really 10x from here.
Yeah,
I was wondering, so go ahead, Evan.
I was just gonna say, so Baran, there's an app right in the App Store now.
Yeah,
that is a mapping app, right? It's a scanning app. So, you know, Baran has been able to get an app into the App Store that does the scanning of your environment. So today, and we've done this at Nextech, you can download his app and scan your room, let's say your living room, right? And Baran has, you know, demoed this. And so you could scan your living room, and Baran's partner, Nick, when I first met Baran, he had Nick on, and Nick was in his house in India, and he had scanned his living room, and he had like a spaceship from like Star Trek floating in his living room. And then he even showed, I think, occlusion, right? There was like,
yeah. So it was hidden behind the couch, and when you load it in, it's all automatic. So it's like drag and drop. You scan the place, you drop in your content, and now it's there. And that was the key thing that we wanted to focus on when creating this, which was, can we make a product that doesn't have all this complex development issues? Because again, AR is, at the very beginning, was very hard for developers like myself to build with. And so we just wanted to make it so it was like a no code, drag and drop, build your experiences, and actually own the maps themselves. So if you were to do this on Facebook or Snapchat's platform, you're depending all on them. So a lot of the clients we've worked with, like private studios and game designers and different content teams, they prefer to work with our technology compared to using other studio builders, because they can actually now own almost like their own metaverse or their own cloud maps and build the content as they wish.
Yeah, so it's purpose built, Steve, for the masses. It's not just for enterprise. So you can build, again, your own metaverse. And I don't even think we're describing how simple Baran has made it, where you scan a room, you have a 3D AR asset, and so you have this spatial map, right? This 3D map that you could spin around and look at from any angle, right? It's like an aerial view of a space, right? And it has these point clouds on it, which is basically, think about geolocation based, right? So everything's mapped to a location, and you could literally drop an augmented reality, a 3D asset, into that geolocation, which could be like right in front of your couch. All right. And then the next thing is, you take out your phone and you don't have to press any buttons. You just look at that location, and whatever you drop there lives there. It literally occupies that space and time.
It's persistent.
It's persistent, right? And that's like a simple metaverse experience. And so think about taking that to another level, right? So there's levels, right? So you have a simple experience in your living room. Well, let's take it to a shopping mall, where we showed a video where Baran had mapped a shopping mall, and basically
the largest one in Europe.
The largest one in Europe, right? So it's
Westfield, London.
Yeah, Westfield, London. And so you map the shopping mall, and I don't know, everybody's been to a mall, they're huge. And so you end up having to look at a map, and you have to figure out, like, where are you on the map? And there's always this, you are here, right? And you're looking at this map, and you're still kind of like, okay, I need some like mental markers. Oh, I know Macy's is next to, these other stores. So all that goes away. That whole experience changes. It all becomes, you walk into the mall, you take out your phone, in the future it'll be the glasses. There's a drop-down menu. You tap on the store you want to go to. Let's just say it's Macy's. And all of a sudden, there are green arrows now that are directing you, just like, in your car, if you have the heads-up AR, display on your dashboard, it's kind of like that, and it's directing you.
I'm going to show you this, Evan. How about, let's take a look at this, and I can show you a bit of what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is the video. This is it. Did I do a good job describing?
Yeah, so you can actually see that's like a little placement there for an AR ad. So, if we were planning to actually work with like an AR, like an advertiser, to just populate the mall with content.
So there are the arrows. Yeah, those are the arrows, right? You'd be walking, and in this case, there's the location, right? It's right around that post. And
and this took 2 minutes to map out, actually. Less than 2 minutes. We have a video of the whole mapping experience, and we scanned this whole area of the mall in less than 2 minutes. And so this is like the main hallway.
2 minutes, Steve. 2 minutes. I mean, seriously, that's less time. I mean, he's talking about being able to map and create the experience in 2 minutes it takes you more time to actually look at a map and find your way. And,
Yeah.
and Baran's talking about how easy the technology is. So think about all the malls in America, all the malls globally, all the hospitals, all the office buildings, all the government buildings, where nobody has a clue. Everybody says, excuse me, how do I get to wherever, right? I mean, we've all done that a million times.
Yeah.
We could map all those buildings, mini metaverses. We're not talking about the whole world like Google went around, like Baran was saying, with the cars and the crazy cameras on the roof. We're talking about everybody has the ability to do this with their phone, with the ARway app, and create these experiences. And so there's a huge opportunity for us to develop this business with Baran and our team.
Okay, couple of things to unpack from this. First off, we were getting a bunch of questions, so I want to, and they address specifically what we're talking about. Someone wrote on here, which is interesting, going, "Oh, walking through a mall looking at my phone is not really ideal." I disagree, because I feel that how many people, when you're in a mall, do you see people looking at that big kiosk, wondering, how do I get to the shoe store? How do I get to the, so I think those kind of things are going to be significant in the future.
I'd actually love to add on to that, Steve. So, again, like I said at the start, AR is in this phase where it's at a smartphone scale, right? I mean, we all know AR glasses is when, the actualized form is going to arrive. And so I think that the significance isn't just about, using your phone to, hold it up continuously and use it throughout the mall, but it's more just like, okay, I can quickly glance through it. I don't have to continuously use it. But the fact is, we have the map there. And so when people start talking about Facebook trying to own the metaverse, right, it's going to be a question of, okay, do we really want to trust Facebook with spatial maps of, your bedroom? Probably not. So that's why I think what's important here is we're starting to build the infrastructure for what's to come. And so the significance of mapping out that shopping mall, and even if it's a small AR advertisement or something on your phone, the fact is, once these AR glasses do take off, we're going to be positioned and ready to say, okay, look, we have all these maps, all these locations use our stuff, and now it's easy to just transition all of that into AR glasses. So I think that the significance there is just thinking beyond just the AR experience there. Because of course there's, AR is a little bit, the UX, the user experience is a little awkward right now, where you have to take out your phone, look into it. Although it is simple, and for navigation, it's quite useful to just look through, because of GPS's problems. But again, AR glasses is when it's really gonna happen. And so that's what we're preparing for.
I just want to, Steve, add a couple of things, because I'm looking at some of the questions, and I just want to address it. So first of all, this is just a simple use case. This is not the whole enchilada. This is like
we're just trying to explain the story.
This is like a very narrow use case. So the big money, the key source of revenue, will likely be advertising and eyeballs, right? So let's just take it to another level. So you could have movie studios paying for, so you have the navigation built into a mall. Okay, there's a lot of eyeballs there. So think of it now as this interactive advertising opportunity, where we could literally map a mall and then sell ads to all the people that want to market to the people walking in the mall. So that little navigation map, all of a sudden ads start to populate as you're walking that path to whatever store. Ads start to pop in. There's millions and millions of dollars there, and we have our own 3D AR ad network. So it's not about the wayfinding. It's about, that's just a very foundational consumer kind of use case, where it's like, okay, like everybody gets that, just like Google Maps, we all use GPS when we get in our car. I don't know if you did this, Steve, but back in the day, I know Baran doesn't know what I'm talking about, AAA. I was a AAA member. Every time I used to go on a trip, I'd order a map. I have to literally call AAA and say, I'm going from New York to Florida. Can you send me a map? I literally get a map in the mail. I'm not making this up. They'd send me a map. I'd unfold the map, physical map, and I'd look at like my, what Highway 95, all the way down. Right.
I know exactly. Yeah. Well, when I was a reporter and we were covering news stories, we would use what was called a map book, where you would literally have maps of all over the city. I'm based in Vancouver. We would literally have all these streets, and you'd have to literally go R3 to A4 and to get you to the point. And that's how you knew where to go, because there was no phones looking that way. So I get what you're saying. And the ad part of it is interesting, because say for instance, you take Baran's video of him walking through that mall. If all of a sudden up pops, 25% off of in this store, and can those ads be changed on a weekly basis, hourly, daily? How does it work, or anything, all the above?
Second by second, you're just dropping different ads. Again, it's this point cloud. You could drop
dynamically be updated, basically. And just I just want to add to one of the other questions I just saw in the chat. This is from Jason. So he was asking about AR glasses and well, essentially when it's going to become commercially available, and when adoption will start happening. And I think this is a perfect question to answer, because what we've seen now is, I think the biggest development so far has been with Microsoft and the $22 billion contract they signed with the US Army. And so, this was, a couple months back, but the significance of this is almost like the internet, right? So the internet was initially created by, US military, right? So I think what we'll see is, this is the big step forward from Microsoft's side to say, okay, the HoloLens is now at this enterprise level. And so now what we can expect is it's going to go that extra step of, just like the internet, of starting to come into this like public domain and become mass produced. And so I think the biggest thing we're doing to kind of start to do this is, and already with the ARway kit, we have integration. We have an integration with the Microsoft HoloLens, and we've actually worked on previously an enterprise project where we demoed how our persistence technology can help in like a factory for maintenance. So you can overlay content and help workers when they're actually using stuff, and this replaces laser-based systems, because laser is now in the past. And so with AR, it's way more accurate and it's way more affordable. And so there's a $1 billion cost saving there. I actually have a blog on this that I can share as well.
And so Baran's bringing up like again, we're trying to kind of I want to say dumb it down so that we can explain the metaverse, but Baran's kind of taking you a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole, where he's saying like, look, this replaces lasers. This saves companies billions of dollars. This isn't just about wayfinding in a mall. That's like a tiny little use case. What we're really speaking to,
it's the retail use case.
Yeah, it's a retail use case. I mean, think of the metaverse as the embodiment of the internet that you're inside of, rather than just looking at. That's what Zuckerberg said, and I kind of see it the same way. And so, and think of Nextech. When you think of like Nextech as an investment, right? We have a market cap of less than $200 million. So you're taking a small cap company and you're saying, okay, Facebook, now it's $1 trillion company. Microsoft, multi-trillion-dollar company. When you look at our competitors or other investments that you could make, there really is no comparison, where we have Baran, ARway, plus, as we've talked about, our hologram creation technology, our ad network. We have all the pieces of the puzzle. We're now stitching it together to create a unified platform. That is what NEMA from Apple Computer and Max were brought on with their 3D AI, platform. It's not just about their platform. We also get their, minds, right? And the same thing with Baran. Like, These guys are building, and they're working now with Baran. I mean, he just started, right? To build a unified platform that stitches together all of our technology so that you will be able to log in and create experiences inside the metaverse, enterprise scale experiences. And we see this as a multi-billion-dollar opportunity that is literally just around the corner. And we're just getting started. I mean, we put out the press release that we acquired ARway, we put it on LinkedIn. There's a flood of interest that is coming to Nextech, that I'm getting emails from major corporations saying, hey, I saw, you guys are now in the metaverse. We're interested. Let's talk. It's still exploratory stuff, but that tells you that there's a market for it. And as we see improvements in mobile device processors, gaming systems, the infrastructure of the internet with 5G now becoming a reality, as virtual reality headsets become more robust, as the glasses come out, and as cryptocurrency becomes more and more accepted, NFTs become more and more accepted and understood, all these crucial pieces. It's not one thing. It's the combination. It's the coming together of these building blocks in technology that's really creating the metaverse that all of the consumers and investors that are listening are going to, one day it's just going to be like, oh, wow, this just happened.
Yeah.
It's just going to show up.
Hey,
and
Baran,
actually,
sorry, Baran, I was a couple of questions for you. Someone asked about what is it that attracted you to Nextech? Because obviously this is your baby. So what did you like about what Nextech is doing and decided that they were the right company to join?
Yeah, of course. And I'll be honest with you, Steve. So, with the us joining Nextech, it was really a question of, what I wanted to do and what I wanted to actually, see realized in my vision. So like, we could have easily gone to like a big tech company like Facebook, for example, and just worked on what they work on, right? But what I wanted to actually end up doing, and the reason for going with Nextech, is just because of the fact that we're in this really nice position, and I think I see eye to eye with Evan on this, where we can work on what ARway originally intended to develop. And so I think that allows me more freedom to actually take this further and have more control on, okay, here's what we'll deliver, and here's the kind of position I'll play. Because at these other big tech companies, when they do these kind of acquisitions, it's usually just like an acqui-hire, and the founders just get left in almost at the back of the bus, right? They're working on new products, they're working on things they don't really have interest or commitment to. But with this acquisition and now working at Nextech, it almost feels like a personal commitment to make this technology and develop this metaverse for my generation, right? So like, in 10 years time, it's going to be, Gen Z who ends up using and really contributing to this metaverse economy. And so I think that's where I feel sort of like a personal responsibility to make that happen. And, thanks to Evan, like we really did see eye to eye on how we would build this and with the mini metaverses. So yeah, I was just really grateful to making that happen. And so that's why right now it feels almost as if like, yes, we're a startup transitioning into a public company, but it's almost that same feeling of like a startup where it's like David against Goliath, right? We're trying to fight the big evil brother, which is going to be, all those big tech corporates.
Don't say that. Nobody's evil. Baran.
Oh, okay, of course not.
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. It's just, look, we're partnered with Microsoft, right? We're partnered with them. We're building into their HoloLens. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. That's the way I look.
Yeah.
We're really standing on their shoulders. They gave us ARkit. They gave us ARcore. Without that, we couldn't build, right? But
I'm thinking with my startup mentality.
I know where you're going. Yeah, I know where you were going. You were just kind of in the jungle thinking, I gotta, survive and thrive. But my mentality is that the tech sector is an ecosystem and it feeds off of each other. In other words, we're going to feed off of the glasses when Apple
Of
drops
course.
the glass, right? And so, but the point that I think Baran was making is that we are the small cap, the small guy. There is no one actually
Well,
that's
that's
as,
the more exciting, yeah.
yeah, nobody's as ambitious as Nextech. I mean, honestly, I didn't even realize that I was that ambitious because, Baran has kind of brought us this opportunity with ARway. And I don't even remember how we met, Baran. Do you remember how we met, how we were introduced? Somebody introduced me to you.
Yeah, I believe it was just an introduction, but of course I was aware of Nextech beforehand, and yeah, that's why as soon as we started to speak, I saw actually, look, these guys are trying to build what I was dreaming of building. They have the resources, they have the capabilities. I'm a startup. I have to hustle to try and convince investors to give me VC funding. Instead of that, I could put my energy onto this
Yeah,
new ship with
yeah.
Nextech and really build this out. So that was mostly exciting for me.
It is. So Steve, the meta message here is this, is that Nextech, we have partnerships with Microsoft, with Ericsson, Singtel, and we're talking to all big tech. In fact, we're even working with Google. Can't really talk about it just yet, but there's some really exciting development happening with Nextech. And so, with our public company platform, we have the ability to support this metaverse build out. And everybody needs to understand that this is the biggest opportunity for our company, meaning it's not a small opportunity. It's a huge I don't want to put numbers on it. I don't want to say it's trillion because everybody's going to say, he's hyping, but the reality is that it's a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, because if you think about the internet and everything that lives on the internet and porting that over into the metaverse, there's only going to be a few winners in the metaverse. And we have this first mover advantage. We're like a little speedboat. We can move very, very quickly and pivot and really find an opening. And that's really what we're working on now. And the idea is with the mini metaverse, and that's kind of like, we just coined that. I don't know, I just started talking about this mini metaverse and everybody seems to like it. And so that's going to be our kind of our area that we're gonna go after, these mini metaverses as a business, Steve, where we're gonna map universities, museums, hospitals, instead of, again, back to Google with mapping the whole world, right? With Google Maps, right? We're saying, hey, let's just map a location and turn that into a mini metaverse, meaning a mini movie, right? Not the big movie that's everywhere, but these mini movies. And so there's just this, so we're now building out our tech offering, and we see advertising inside the metaverse as well as eyeballs, where we get paid as people experience the metaverse. And there's a subscription. It's kind of a SaaS model is really the way it's going to work. And ultimately, if you listen to Zuckerberg, his whole vision is ads, but also digital assets that get traded throughout the metaverse, right? Where you could take it from one metaverse to the next. And so that's something that we're going to talk to Baran about. Like if he has any, Baran, didn't you have like an NFT concept that you were working on?
Yeah, exactly. So, this is something, I probably wanted to work on some more with the team. Actually, we have some really exciting stuff we're working with Nima and Max on that we're looking to unveil pretty soon. But yeah, so with NFTs, one of the concepts we explored out before joining Nextech was actually how do you store and use NFTs as almost like an authentication tool. So if I had created some spatial maps and I want to store it on the blockchain, can I actually store it as an NFT and make it so if I wanted to sell that or transfer it, you could almost create this ecosystem where people have these maps. Advertisers would come in play, and there would be different users. So there'd be users, advertisers, map creators, and then like the venue property owners. And so, there's still a lot of pieces to solve on that puzzle of like, how do you kind of make that ecosystem connect? And we've seen different projects. So, someone mentioned in chat about Earth 2. So that's like one of the examples of, how do you sell land in the metaverse, right? Property ownership. And, again, Earth 2 isn't exactly like registered and regulated completely or anything. So, it's going to be really interesting to solve that problem. And I think that it's going to be like a cooperative effort by all the big tech players to come together and make sure, look, this ecosystem works out, property owners and advertisers can make it all happen. And so that's why with the mini metaverses, I think that's the right strategy forward, where we can actually, instead of having this big shared map, we can focus on having, venue owners and advertisers work directly on small geolocation.
Okay, I'm going to let you go here in a second, Baran, but can AR objects be placed on a moving target? Someone suggested like a bus ad on the side. Can that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on exactly what tech you use. So if you're using just a markerless AR, it's very, very difficult to do so, almost impossible. With marked AR you can, and also it depends on if you're moving along with the object or if it's just flying by you, or the speed it's going at. But yeah, there's still some challenges on mobile. But the algorithm we've developed for spatial mapping works on any RGB camera. So we've even looked into making maps work on drones. So there's a lot that we're working on, but again, it's all talk right now. Action is going to speak louder than our words, right? So
you're saying, so if you want to advertise on the Autobahn, not yet. That's what you're saying. Hey, Baran, it's great to get to know you and learn a little bit more about your company. I know that you're still a startup, but you obviously have some real great brain power behind what you're doing, and it's an exciting time for you. So I'm going to let you go and talk to Evan a little bit more, but congratulations on this acquisition. Sounds like it's got a lot of fun, and I know we're going to talk again real soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Okay, there's Baran Korkmaz. He's with ARway, is what it's called. And of course, in the App Store as well, ARway. You can go check it out on there as well. Evan, we just have a few minutes left, about 5 minutes left, but I just wanted to, we always like to sort of wrap up this live stream with just a quick update on the company in general. And a lot of people wondering about revenue numbers and when they're going to be coming out, and you're still on par with all that. So I just thought you'd give you a chance to address that.
Oh yeah, we're coming out with our Q2 numbers after the close today. And we've publicly announced that already. And then tomorrow we have a live earnings conference call that everybody should tune in for. So yeah, we're locked and loaded, ready to talk about Q2, talk about Q3, and talk about the metaverse, which really is the most exciting thing, obviously, for us these days. So yeah, we're gearing up for that. Absolutely.
Okay. And any other updates you want to give us real quick as we wrap up here?
I would just say that when investors look at the landscape, I challenge investors to find another small cap metaverse company. Meaning, if you look at the other companies like ARway that have these spatial mapping apps and technology that have been around as long as ARway, they've all been acquired by big tech. Epic Games just made an acquisition of a spatial mapping company. Snap made an acquisition of a spatial mapping company. Microsoft, Google, they're buying these guys up aggressively. Nextech was lucky to land Baran and ARway, and it was because Baran didn't want, he's a young kid, young person, and he has his whole life ahead of him. And for him, he wanted to really, really build his legacy. He wanted to really, really kind of define his own future. He didn't want to get bought up by a Facebook, a Snap, one of the bigger tech companies, because his friends that did, he would talk to, and they would say, yeah, I'm here, and I'm now on this massive team, and I'm kind of anonymous now. Like, yeah, they bought my company, but I'm not really making decisions, right? When we acquired ARway and even 3D AI and a lot of these companies that we've acquired, when we bring in the founders, all we do is pour gasoline on what they've been doing. We empower them. We give them the resources and the capital. These guys are entrepreneurs to the nth degree, and entrepreneurs don't want to have to go out and raise money. So I'll do that for them. Lucky me. Entrepreneurs don't want to have to deal with CFOs. They don't have to deal with, filing tax returns and quarterly reports. And, they just want to be entrepreneurs. They just want to, be creative and build cool stuff. And so, the idea with Nextech is, all right, we have this whole infrastructure, come on board. We'll take away all the headaches, all the things you don't like doing, and you could just focus like a maniac on what you love to do. And that's all we ask, of Baran and everybody that joins is, look, just do what you've been doing, only, press down on the accelerator. We'll give you the gasoline and the team so that you can get to, this vision. We'll help you frame it, and we'll help you mold it, and we'll bring it to market, and we'll all win together. And that's why these guys all take shares instead of cash. Nobody's cashing out, Steve, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm the largest shareholder, which I've said many times. Baran now is a shareholder. The guys from 3D AI, they're all shareholders, and they all look at this. They all look at this through the same lens. We all think to ourselves, okay, this has billion-dollar market cap potential. It's going to take a lot of work. No doubt. It's going to take a lot of work. There will be bumps in the road. It's never a straight line. It's complicated. But guess what? We're all up for the task. And that's basically what this is about, is that we're all invested in the future. And I'm speaking to our investors that, this isn't like, oh, tomorrow we're going to land $1 billion contract. It's not really that, right? It's more like we're building what we believe is $1 billion company. And we're just really in the early days of this new internet called the Metaverse.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there, Evan. I know that your revenue numbers, and you have a lot more to say on your call as well. But I appreciate the time to talk about this acquisition, and I know we'll be talking your revenue numbers on one of our regular interviews over the next couple of days as well. So great to see you, my friend. Good luck with everything this afternoon and tomorrow. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure.
All right, there's Evan Gappelberg. He's the CEO of Nextech AR Solutions. And I'm Steve Darling from the Worldwide Broadcast Center of Proactive here in Vancouver. Enjoy your day.